you've got Missouri farmers who, in many cases, these are small family farms. These are not massive corporate farmers. This land has been in their family for generations. They just want to be left alone and be able to farm. And you're a major corporation who's coming in here and taking them to court literally to take their land.
This is the Netherlands on the world map. It's a small country with a population of just 17 million people, and more than half of the nation's land is used for agriculture. Dutch farmers are also the world's second biggest exporters by value after the United States. Instead, the Dutch government is rolling up its sleeves to forcefully shut down up to 3,000 farms to comply with the European Union rules. And this is not going down well with the farmer community.
If I were a rich man, la da 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 da, all day long I'd biddy biddy bomb. If I were a wealthy man. If I were a rich man, da 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 da, all day long I'd biddy biddy bum. If I were a wealthy man.
What happened to Debbie? Do you guys remember? In Fiddler on the Roof, the government came in and told him that he couldn't farm there anymore, and they kicked him off his land. This is not the days of old. This is happening right now, all across the globe, even in America.
Forcing the farmers to sell their land to the state in order to meet new climate goals. Yes, perfect farmland like this right behind me here is going to be seized by the government, taken by the government, and the farmers are not happy about this.
And 50,000 Dutch farmers keep more than 11 million pigs and nearly 4 million cows.
Intense and highly productive farming has turned the Netherlands into one of the world's main food producers. But a farm like this could soon be a thing of the past. While farmers are now being pressured into selling their animals and find another profession, others insist they'll continue.
The government should force farmers to stop. It has to happen now, and it will be painful. Farmers have to be told, you will need to quit and we will withdraw your license. We will compensate you, but you have to stop.
Why should they? This is their life. It's like they are criminals. It's like they are doing something bad. They produce food. Except for water and oxygen, we need food.
But damage the nature at the same time.
No, that's bull crap, I would say.
Speak Spockman, if I could start with you, your company, Invenergy, is planning a high voltage transmission line across my state called the Grain Belt Express. You're familiar with this, I'm sure.
I am, sir.
As I understand it, this line, if built, would carry electricity from western Kansas to Indiana. It would cut right across the state of Missouri, 200 miles from west to east, 8 counties, and cover hundreds and hundreds of farms. I understand you're also now proposing a second transmission line called the Tiger Connector Line, which would run north and south from Monroe County down to Callaway County. Farmers in my state have expressed a lot of concern with the Grain Belt Express and your company's use of eminent domain. So let me just give you a chance to say what your response is to farmers and rural homeowners in my state who don't want transmission lines running over their farms, preventing them from planting crops or having their land taken from them for corporate use.
Sir, thank you for the question. I would say that community engagement is first and foremost in our mind when we're developing any type of project. And in addition, what we are thinking about is what is the necessity to make sure that lights stay on and that we can improve the reliability and resilience of these communities as well as across these communities from one to the others. And that's why we find it very important that we look toward the larger view of what is necessary in the communities, but then at the state level, and what is in the national interest.
Say the lights stay on. Are lights going to stay on in the state of Missouri from this project? My understanding is, as originally planned, the transmission line wouldn't benefit the residents of Missouri at all.
Lights staying on across the entire country. We're talking about
But you're taking Missourians' land.
I'm sorry?
You're taking Missourians' land from them.
And
you've gone to court, your company has gone to court and sued Missouri farmers to take away their land. This isn't speculative. I mean, you've actually used this corporate power, which frankly I'm not sure you should have, to seize land from Missouri farmers that's been in their families for generations.
Well, sir, I would actually say that I think about we would have power that would go into communities in Missouri. So I would just I'm happy.
That's the new Tiger Connector line. So after it was pointed out that your original Grain Belt Express did nothing for the state of Missouri, then you came back and said, well, we'll add something more. So what commitments are you going to give the farmers and residents of Missouri today that they'll actually benefit from this land grab?
Yes, sir. Since we, as Invenergy, have taken over this project, we have done an inordinate amount of community engagement. We will continue to do direct community engagement. This project did not start with us, but we took it on, and we took it on with the objective to make sure that the communities are well spoken to and well heard from, in order to make sure.
What are they going to get? Are Missouri farmers and residents, are they going to get lower energy prices out of this? Or how are they going to benefit? You're putting a huge transmission line across 200 miles of land in the state of Missouri. You have gone to court to seize the land from Missouri farmers. You're a private corporation, aren't you?
Yes, we are, sir.
But how much money are you making on this?
I'd have to get back to you on that.
Would you? I'm really curious because you've got Missouri farmers who, in many cases, these are small family farms. These are not massive corporate farmers. This land has been in their family for generations. They just want to be left alone and be able to farm. And you're a major corporation who's coming in here and taking them to court literally to take their land. And then the benefit they get from it is nothing for the state of Missouri. And you talk about the national good. So your message to them is, give us a big, rich corporation your land, or we'll take it from you, and you should just live with it.
Sir, I'm sure that that's not the message that we're trying to.
That's what they're hearing.
Before you guys go, I want you guys to check out this book if you can. It's called The Conquest of Civilization. Breasted. Breasted. He wrote the book. It's from 1926. I'm encouraging you guys to try to find any of your books from like 1930, 35 backwards. Those are going to be filled with gold nuggets, because reading is very, very powerful. So this book, 1926, it kind of talks about the Roman collapse. Okay, we're all pretty familiar with it, and we also know that if you don't know history, you're bound to repeat it. Okay, so this goes on a little bit back here in this chapter here. I'm on chapter 29 where this comes in. That's called The Century of Revolution and the Division of the Empire. And basically what it goes into is it talks about how the land was distributed around there. There was a lot of small landholders, and then they had some really big landholders, your Bill Gates types, okay? In spite of the heavy taxes, they put a lot of taxes on the small farmers. The same stuff as now. They were trying to break the small farmer and get him off the land so the big guy could take over the whole deal. But the small farmer was kind of resilient, kind of like we are today, and it posed them a little bit of a problem. The province behind Carthage, already in Nero's time, half of this province was made up of 6 domains held by only 6 great landlords. Such a great estate was called a villa, and the systems of the villa estates, having destroyed the small farmers of Italy, was likewise now destroying them in the provinces also. The great villas once worked by slaves were now cultivated chiefly by the coloni. Multitudes of the country people, unwilling to become coloni, okay, they didn't want to work for them and be on the land, they forsake the fields and turned to the city for relief. The result, the amount of land under cultivation continually decreased. Remember the Agenda 21. And the ancient world was no longer raising enough food to feed itself properly. Did you guys hear that? It's called self-inflicted. The scarcity was felt most severely in the great centers of population like Rome, where prices had rapidly gone up. Our own generation, afflicted in the same way, is not the first to complain of the high cost of living. Are you guys picking this up? Here we go. Offers by the emperor to give land to anyone who would undertake and cultivate failed to increase the amount of land under the plow. Did you guys catch that? The brave and independent farmers who had once formed the basis of Italian prosperity, men who, in the ranks of the legion, had laid the foundation of the Roman power. The destruction of the small farmers and the inability to Rome to restore them formed the leading cause among the whole group of cause which brought about the decline and fall of the great empire. The country people who moved to Rome were only bringing their own extermination as a class. The large families which the country life favors were no longer reared, and the number of marriages decreased, and the population of the empire shrank. Y'all, this is history. And it's there for you to see. I hope you found this video valuable. I hope you understand that they are going after the farmers.
Bill Gates owns more land than all of the entire city of New York. Jeff Bezos' land is double the amount, clocking in at 420,000 acres. John Malone, the largest private landowner in America, owns 2.2 million acres all by himself, a landmass slightly smaller than the island of Puerto Rico. America is enormous, yet 100 of the richest and largest private landowners in America own 1.86% of all the land available in the United States. Land is only getting more valuable. In the mid-1990s, farmland was valued at less than $1,500 an acre, adjusted for inflation. By 2020, that number had grown to $3,160 an acre.
It's expensive. So if somebody is desiring land, it is primarily people of wealth who can afford it.
Institutional capital is growing and it's becoming a bigger piece of the market. It's about a $3 trillion asset class when you look at the whole U.S.
However, not everyone is benefiting from the rise in farmland prices.
It's going to continue to be harder for farmers, for beginning farmers like myself. If prices continue to go up, everything's going up.
Land is critical, and it's the center of how we survive and persist as communities and as people.
They can live in California and be able to purchase property here in our city just like that. But somebody that lives here, that works here, that cuts the grass next door because that lot hasn't been cut in a year, that picks up the trash on the streets, they attempt to purchase property and they have to go through hoops and hoops and hoops.
With increasing competition on land and increasing values of land, it really puts farmers in a challenging position because they are not competing against individuals with the same income as them.
I pursued the purchase of a 10-acre farm here in urban Louisville a year ago this month. And the owners asked for $1.75 million, right, for the property. In urban Louisville, Kentucky, $1.75 million, right, for 10 acres. I couldn't afford that, you know. But a developer swoops right in and is able to take that offer, you know, that opportunity right out from under me because they could.
And as they raise our taxes and they raise everything on us, they're trying to push us into the cities, just like history. Okay? See you guys on the next video.
Bill Gates has been gobbling up land for years now. He's actually one of the largest private farmland owners in the United States, with over 270,000 acres across multiple states.
In 2020, Bill Gates made headlines for becoming the largest private farmland owner in the US.
But China's got Bill beat by a long shot. They own around 384,000 acres of agricultural land in the United States, land which collectively was worth north of $2.2 billion when they bought it.
In addition to this land that they're buying up, they've also bought the nation's largest pork processing plant. They're buying up grain mills.
Agricultural farm prices, food prices are at all-time highs.